grito, grito, tacu, tacu.
Greetings and welcome once again to Midnight's Edge After
I
Dark.
got turtle.
How's everybody doing? Good to have you here on a Tuesday night. We're in the middle of the month. Don't give me hope, says Goddess of Whim. Well, we don't know what's going on. We're going to talk about that in just a minute here, though. But welcome everybody to the program. Looks like we got a lovely panel here. We got a lovely chat. So we're going to get rolling on time for once. We got Script Doctor here coming in from Canada. How you doing?
Doing well. It's -10 up here, which is +8 for you.
Mm.
So it's
Warmer
pretty
for
cold.
you than it is for us.
Yeah.
It's 1 degree here Celsius right now.
Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, happy to be here, staying warm. Gonna start a fire, a contained fire to maintain my warmth pretty soon.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
It was lucrative. Chopped down my own wood, dried it off, brought it inside, you know.
There you go. That's a manly thing to do. Speaking of manly men, we have Clobbering Times. How you doing?
Hey there. Well, you guys have me embarrassed because we have all of 28 degrees. But for down here, that's outrageously cold. For web, you guys, it's nothing.
I heard this is going quite south. Like even in like Nevada and other places, they're hitting like freezing weather.
We've got a lot of shutdowns here, roads and all kinds of stuff. A lot of cities shut down, and it's only going to get like they're expecting maybe the lowest. Like this morning was like 17 or something. Fahrenheit.
Dang.
But for us, it just doesn't happen very often, so it is a big deal. Like I always try to tell my friends up north, snow is something to us. Snow is something that happens on television and movies, not in real life.
Well,
won't
and
get
you're
any
not
snow, by the
prepared
way.
for it, so I can understand how that could happen. But
Not prepared at all. We won't get any snow. We'll just get the cold, some nice
yeah,
cold
well,
and
that's
some
good.
frozen roads. Yeah.
Well, somebody who's well equipped for the snow, or at least is living in the snow, Mr. CC Karaoke. I'm kind of surprised to see you here with all your internet issues you've been having lately. How you doing?
Everything's frozen.
Oh man. Well, hopefully you can stay warm. Holy shit.
Yeah, my car is frozen. I can't even booster it. The freezer's dead because it's too frozen to freeze. But I have a giant freezer outside, and I have a giant refrigerator right here in my home. So the food is good. It's not going to
So you
spoil.
don't even
Lost a
have any
little bit of the
heat
food.
right now, man?
No, I got some heat. It's not
Oh,
it's not Terabad or anything. It's just like
Say, it made me worry like for you. I was like, shit,
Yeah.
dude.
Frozen shell around your car.
Jeez.
it's more cold than it normally is, which I think everybody can relate to right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that I can get my car booted up eventually, but so far it just
Yeah.
whimpers and dies.
Shit. All right. Well, our thoughts and prayers are with you, CC. I know that doesn't make you very warm, but it's the best we can do for now, anyway. And Script is closer, so actually, I don't know. I might be. Who knows? Depends on where you're at. I might be closer, actually. Also, we have Price of Reason here. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How's it going?
Doing the best I can. We're glad you made it. We're gonna get into the news here shortly. We got some interesting news today. It's been a bit of a whiplash of news happening. So we're gonna talk about the Ray business to start this off, because this broke, looks like yesterday, but started making the rounds today. According to this, never really heard of them before, World of Real.
Never
I
heard
believe
of
this is the source that it comes from. According to them, the Ray movie had been delayed indefinitely.
Okay.
Yeah. seems to arise from creative differences between screenwriter Stephen Knight and Lucasfilm. I'm told that a draft originally had been written for the film, but Lucasfilm gave so many notes that he had to start from scratch. To make matters worse, there's possibility that Knight might not be staying on board to the project. His frustration has grown, so he's put Star Wars on the back burner and is now focused on a screenplay for Peaky Blinders movie, which is supposed to be going into production this fall.
He's starting the Peaky Blinders screenplay now for a fall production. That's cutting it close.
Yeah, and they just say, I've been told, no real by whom or just a well-informed source is what we got here.
Okay, so generalities, that's fine. That's okay.
Okay.
Sometimes they're valid. Sometimes.
Well, I was kind of questioning this. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I know we already know it's been delayed. That's a fact.
Yes.
But it's only been delayed by a year. But then IO9 came out with this 5 hours ago. And they say, no, Rey movie has not been delayed. And they're claiming that a source from Lucasfilm.
Wait, who's the person that wrote the article for IO9? Can you scroll? Is it Germain Lucier? Germain Lucier is an inside man for Lucasfilm. Anytime they need to feed him info for some kind of interference, he's their go-to guy. He's the guy that also, quote unquote, broke the Gina Carano story. He is. I once did a video about this where his ties to Lucasfilm are very kind of, and this is my personal opinion, suspicious. And anytime they need something from the desk of Kathleen Kennedy, this guy pops up with an article. If you look at his history, you'll see a lot of them like this. So I don't know if it's true or not.
Interesting
but I'm just
observation there, Price. No, I did not even notice that.
It is 100% true. And there were other things. When Indiana Jones wasn't doing well, he suddenly had this article. No, like, how dare you say this about the ending? Every time where somebody suddenly pops up with an article that seems super favorable to Lucasfilm, it's 99% of the time it's this guy. So, and I mean Lucasfilm as in Kathleen Kennedy. You know what I'm saying? Somehow, anytime they need something, this guy pops up. Take that for whatever it is.
Wow.
Okay, so he is the unofficial spokesperson for Kathleen Kennedy's tenure at Lucasfilm, which would be interesting to take a look at his archived articles, see how well they line up with the narrative. So this is either pushing back on something that could be true or reinforcing something that is still kind of percolating in the entertainment industry, which is this Star Wars Rey movie, which has been announced. Well, we've known about it since summer, essentially. And we've heard rumors about it possibly being announced a year prior to that. So
I recall Chris Gore talking on Midnight's Edge in the morning last week about how Charmin coming out and saying what she said indicated that the film may be in trouble. And this may just be more kind of smoke around that idea.
Possibly. I mean, Tom has actually stated it. Kathleen Kennedy has fired every director she's hired.
More than she's hired, actually.
That's what what directors were hired not by her that she terminated? Because
I'm saying she's fired more than actually have gotten projects made is my whole point of the joke.
Oh, okay,
but yes, here's the other thing that's funny though, and I sent this to you directly, Script, earlier. And this goes possibly with your theory, because if this, let's just take it for face value. Let's say, Price,
sure,
you got a point here that this is that Germain is Kathleen Kennedy's little mouthpiece, and this is getting out there to try and stave off this rumor that is possibly true. Let's say you had an observation before, Script, about Dave Filoni getting his
promotion.
And what happens to a lot of people just before they get fired sometimes?
Usually you get a couple of interesting articles lauding their success, maybe an award of sorts, some type of acknowledgement. I believe Victoria Alonso got an award for that independent film she made right before she got axed. Yeah.
Dave Filoni to receive George Pell Memorial Award at Saturn Awards.
which just decreased the
Uh-oh.
value of the George Powell Memorial Award right there.
Just so happened to come across this because I knew it'd make Culture laugh, or I mean, Script Doctor laugh, because I knew he'd get the joke right away. And yeah, his profound impact on the Star Wars franchise, breathing new life into characters and expanding the universe. Yeah, all of a sudden this puff piece comes out on Dave Filoni as well.
And what a terrible speech by the head that is awarding Dave Filoni. No, nothing specific enough to actually say, yes, he's accomplished anything. Just a bunch of broad generalities, which is weird because if you take a look at, well, prior to the turmoil of Hollywood, when you take a look at some of the awards presenters, the speeches for the presenter, from the presenter to the recipient of the award, they do get into a little bit of specifics about the characters and the themes that they injected into their work. And you can't find any of that for Filoni's speech because he's never actually done that in any of his work.
Yeah, this is, I wonder if there's not some shit going down behind the scenes here. Because this is all just like a flurry of news. And that announcement for the Mando movie we got felt very subdued as well. And
it just felt out of place because that's the type of thing you'd have announced alongside Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie that he was getting, the Rey movie. Like that's where you would have done it. Yep. Part of me suspects that after the failure of Ahsoka, they decide to pull back on the reins of Dave Filoni. But at the same time, I think he's on a ticking clock. I would be surprised if he makes it 2 years before he leaves Lucasfilm and is never able to work in Hollywood again because nobody else outside of this Lucasfilm will hire him because he knows nothing other than Star Wars. And that's useless to other studios.
No, I'm not saying anybody's going anywhere, but I'm just saying this is really weird that we got an announcement. We knew Rey was getting delayed. Now within a week of it being delayed, we're hearing word that it's being delayed indefinitely, not just by a year. The other rumors popping out, I think Pro and some other ones were on top of this, were that it doesn't even have a script. What script was done is being tossed out, which is kind of like what we're hearing in this article I just read as well. So yeah, all of this kind of is weird. So I'm curious what you guys are getting from all this. CC, what's your observation so far on all this Star Wars news?
Well, my first thought is Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, if the Favreau movie, and I would love to know why Favreau is going through with the movie, but besides that, if his movie's coming out first, and then maybe a couple other things are going to come out, and then the Filoni movie is going to come out, I mean, that's now putting the Filoni movie years away and behind the Favreau movie. And I'm kind of with Script Doctor on this one. They're giving him awards. And I mean, maybe Kathleen Kennedy was, really wise and decided, let's try and get Favreau. But that's other part of my speculative part of my mind is like the fact that Kathleen Kennedy, it is like the listings for the new movie is Favreau first, Kathleen Kennedy second, Filoni third. And Kathleen Kennedy has to be second on the listing, right? Because she's Kathleen Kennedy and she'll keep getting the executive producer credits. But was that really her decision? And then I'm thinking that what I've observed in companies around the world, both in film and in video games and otherwise, is that really, really great creative minds have a following that travel with them from company to company. And I don't think that can be completely overlooked when it comes to Favreau. I'm sure he has a lot of talent that will go wherever he goes. And I'm not suggesting that I think Kathleen Kennedy will get fired, because that's obviously not going to happen. But it makes me wonder what the shifting state of power is at Disney and Lucasfilm. And I wouldn't count on Filoni being the man that Kathleen Kennedy obviously wanted him to be.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation, and it does feel like there might be a little bit of a power struggle going on behind the scenes of sorts. Price, is that what you're seeing too, or what's your observation? And I see you sent a bunch of the Gizmodo and or basically the articles from the same guy that wrote the
Yeah,
initial
I mean, I actually
not the initial one, but the IO9 one that's
It-
refuting this.
I don't know if it's considered naughty on Midnight's Edge After Dark, but I found the snippet, not my whole video, just within my video, the snippet where after Gina Carano was fired, he went to a podcast like boasting the type of relationship he has with
If you want to
Lucasfilm.
share it, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Share screen.
In fact, yeah, send me the link for that for Andre too. We might even use that in the video.
So, can you see it now?
Yep, we can see it. Let's see if we can hear it.
Enter Jermaine Lucier, who I believe is in Godfather terms, Lucasfilm's very own Luca Brasi. If Luca Brasi drank soy milk and ate tofurkey, I believe that Lucier understood exactly what his position was, and that he was more than happy to push Lucasfilm's narrative, especially if it would mean they would continue to give him special VIP access to premieres, Star Wars cast and crew, interviews, and scoops. Why do I believe this? Well, sometime after the Gina Carano firing, Lucier did a victory lap on a podcast called ATG Cast with Pete Flutzer. In it, Jermaine Lucier boasts that over the years he's gained access to Star Wars cast and crew due to his special relationship with Lucasfilm.
But I've sat in a room and talked to Harrison Ford. I've sat in a room and talked to Ryan Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, Lawrence Kasdan. You know, like it's really surreal to sit there and it's like this, but we're in a room and you're like, what is this happening right now? Like, I cannot believe I'm here.
Even with all of this self-backpatting, Lucier tells the podcast that while breaking the Gina Carano scoop, he couldn't believe that they had actually given him the exclusive and not somebody else.
I get the email and she's like, here's our comment. And I'm like, and I did a quick search and I'm like, wait, no one else, oh my God, they gave it to me. And then I got it up. And you know, like, and that's called me working my butt off ish, you know, to do that. And the only reason they answer those emails at all is because I've worked with them in the past. So, you know.
And that actually seems to be the only thing that Lucier was right about.
Anyhow, that was it. I mean, there's more to it, but I won't.
No, that's a great observation, man. That kind of adds a new element to this
Absolutely.
whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I can send you this video if it helps for whatever.
Yeah,
you're
like
doing.
I said, send it to me because I'm sending all this stuff to Andre as we speak right now. So
I think that Andre should watch this video because this video is basically about Jermaine Lucier and his relationship with Lucasfilm, and I think it won't be a waste of his time. I just gave you a little snippet, but there's a lot of cool stuff in here beyond this.
Awesome, thank you. I'll send that off to him, and yeah, that's a really great observation there. So,
how do I stop the share? I'll stop share.
Oh, there you go. You're good. But yeah, so Nick, welcome. How you doing?
Hello, hi. Happy to be here, Tom. Thanks for having me. Hi, sorry, had some internet issues, but all is good and done.
No
and
worries.
hello,
We kind of got started.
to you and the dudes. Yeah, I did notice that. But either way, it's all good. But hello to you and the gang, and hello to our chat and our wrenches. Yeah, what's with the Gina thing?
Well, the Gina thing is a different bit of news. This is we're talking about the Rey movie. Is it on? Is it off?
Oh, yeah.
We don't know. We're getting some conflicting reports here, but as Price has pointed out, the guy who's reporting from Lucasfilm has run interference for them in the past. So an interesting wrinkle in this. Yeah.
Very silly of him.
You'd be hard pressed to find an article that's not exactly in line with what they need when they need it. I'm just saying. I don't know if maybe you can somehow find one, but you'd be hard pressed to do it.
Clobby, did you get a chance to speak on this yet?
No, I was just agreeing with everyone else. This guy sounds like a little shill. And yeah, that's all I can say. I don't know much about the situation going on, but yeah, it's just no, I'm good.
When I made that video, I still had a higher voice.
It was just a little lad. Your voice hadn't dropped yet.
A while back, huh?
I went through puberty.
It was a young calamari. But yeah, so Nick, do you think we're gonna get the Rey movie, or do you think it's delayed indefinitely? What do you think's going on here?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm keeping up. What I see here on Midnight's Edge and Comics Division channels. It's possible it might not come out. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. I mean, considering how much was supposed to be coming out or announced, we had the Patty Jenkins thing. We had the Game of Thrones guys were supposed to do a thing. Rian Johnson was supposed to get a trilogy that he never got. So there's been a long list of things that have been announced. I mean, Lucasfilm is starting to say, hey, Warner Bros., remember how many times you announced DC projects and they didn't come out? Well, we're going to try to knock you down from first place, and we're going to be the new kings of announcing projects that don't come out. So right now they're playing catch up with Warner Bros. And DC, and they're trying to get to number one of announcing the most projects ever, and they don't come out. So right now they got a good track record. They're batting at around 250. They got a few hits, and I think they're going to win the World Series of most projects that don't come out. And I think the Rays, the biggest one to happen. I do think that the Mando movie is going to happen, and I won't be surprised if it does. But I think any one movie, it's gonna be that one. But Ray is, I wouldn't be surprised if it's done. So we're number one. Yeah, right. Lucasfilm, we're number one. So yeah, ultimately that's where I'm at. Wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
Hope to keep that record streak going alive of announcing things that they never make.
Right. I'm actually impressed with their streak. Right now that we're thinking, it's like, wow, this actually has me thinking. Yeah, they really are catching up to Warner Brothers. So hey, if you believe in yourself, you can do it. And I think right now Lucasfilm really believes in themselves with failure. So good on them.
I think they're neck and neck, aren't they? Because
they might be. They might be.
Because Warner Brothers only announced like what 7 that they couldn't deliver on. I think Disney has gotten
at least all those were like DC movies. Like other than that, I mean,
I feel like this is a political tug of war. Basically, I think that at this point it's clear that her contract is ending and she's done poor work, but she still has time there as they try to supposedly negotiate or exit or whatever they do. And I think now it's kind of like, who can annoy the other person more? So she says, oh, look, I brought this feminist activist. She's going to do this movie. And then Bob Iger says, really? Well, my boy Jon Favreau, he's back. He's going to do this movie. And between you and me, I don't even know which of these movies will ever get made. I mean, there's more of a chance that the Favreau one will, but the one with the feminist lady and Kathleen Kennedy, from day one, even when you asked me a few weeks ago, I told you that I don't even give this much importance because of all of her cancel projects. It almost seems like another one of those kind of trolls of hers.
I agree.
It kind of feels like I mean, I don't know if it's exactly like the tit for tat like you're saying, Price. I mean, I could see that. But I honestly feel like this Mando movie is a clear reaction
for sure
to this whole thing and the way things are going, and Bob is reasserting himself again like he did a while back with the whole the buck stops with me, there's mistakes made on Star Wars, etc., etc., etc. So I wonder if this whole thing wasn't similar to that, basically same kind of thing, but this being fast tracked, taking the place of the Rey movie to begin with. I mean, the Mando movie, that is Favreau project. I mean, to me, that feels like something Bob Iger pushed instead of the other stuff.
And there's one other reason. Sorry, go on.
Oh, it's a last-ditch effort now that Bob Iger, for once in his career, is actually in a position where he doesn't look as high and mighty. It's to a point where even he can't deny it. It makes sense that this is something that would be announced. And you obviously saw no one, and not even the Reylos, could get this Rey movie trending. Even on all the manipulated trending websites, the Rey movie wasn't trending. That's you would think at least the websites where they can manipulate that stuff would do it. No, not even those could do it. There's no interest in this, and the franchise is dead. Now, a lot of people say these things, usually it's hyperbole and exaggeration, but I actually truly do feel like, as far as new stuff for this franchise goes, it's truly dead. I'm not saying that to take pride or take jabs at it. It's just, it's, as that quote says, it's dead, Jim.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's gonna do well if they put it in theaters, because I mean, by the time it ever comes out, the vast majority of the regular population, like the not like super fans, have moved on from Baby Yoda. They've moved on to other things. They've long since moved on, and it'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I was into that a few years ago. And, you know, for the people who are really invested, we all know what happened to Gina Carano in season 3 and how the whole plan just fell apart. So what is it supposed to be, an extension after season 3? It's not exactly exciting. You know, it's like the movie would have done a lot better if it came out right after season 2. So I would rather see the Favreau movie than the Ray movie, obviously. But if it's going to come out at all, I wonder if it might just end up being a Disney Plus movie. Like, what's the path for this to end up on, like, in theaters? You know, how would they advertise it? And then how would they make a lot of money off of it?
I wanted to add one more thing that, and maybe somebody else has said it, but I think that also by adding, I don't think Bob Iger liked the idea of whatever Kathleen Kennedy was cooking. He pushed for that Favreau thing. But one another reason for it is that if there's 3 movies supposedly in production and one happens to get canceled, you don't think about it much because there's other movies that are being pumped and people are saying how great they are. But if that was the only movie everybody was talking about and then it was canceled, there would have been a lot more focus on it. So maybe he's kind of laying the groundwork.
I agree with you, Price, in that respect. In fact, I noticed in the announcement for this movie that there was an absence of Taika Waititi's movie.
Oh, that's another one that we missed.
Yeah.
Thanks for increasing the list even further.
Because I was like, they announce all these, like, this is an announcement for the Mando movie, but besides all these other things that are in production, the things that they named here, I'll bring it up here if I can find it real quick here. The other things that they named, everything but the Taika Waititi project. So I'm like, oh, does that mean that's dead? Like, I mean, we kind of assume that anyway, but
it's probably as dead as the Flash Gordon project also.
Probably, which is sad because that's one thing I think he actually could do something with, but I don't know so much more anymore after Love and Thunder. But yeah, The Mandalorian Grogu will lead Lucasfilm ongoing feature development slate, including films helmed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, James Mangold, and Dave Filoni, who is also currently developing Ahsoka Season 2, among those in the works. So there you go. I didn't hear anything about Taika Waititi. So I wonder if that's dead too. Yeah, and I'll be surprised if the Mangold project actually happens as well. We'll see.
He's been awfully silent since Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, James Mangold. Man, the list just keeps growing. Jeez.
Well, and the thing with that is, I think that's all going to hinge on, did he do Indiana Jones as a favor to get to this project, or is this project a gimme for Indiana Jones? And since Indiana Jones flopped, it's going to be a take it away. Because that's what Kathleen Kennedy is well known for. She can taketh away much easier than giveth.
Ooh, I don't, man.
Or loseth, I should say, because shit just falls apart around her like a fucking house of cards. Because that's really all Star Wars is at this point.
Oh, it truly is. You know, and
you're right about Grogu too. I think it was Price who brought it up, because I've seen nothing but Baby Yoda shit in every time I see it now. It's in either clearance or at the dollar store, which is equivalent of like your Ollie's or whatever you have, you know, in your area.
Boy.
So the new Baby Yoda smell has worn off.
Good.
That's why I always say, like, Gina Carano and the character of Cara Dune had more lasting power. Grogu's great, but it was, you know, it's a trend that came and went.
And I think Favreau knew
anything.
Well, he knew that,
well,
yeah.
And I think Favreau knew, and that's why he was trying to give him off to Luke. And if the rumors are true, what we heard is that they said, if you want, you know, we want the baby back, and if you want Luke in this thing again, it's got to happen now or whatever. Then maybe that's true, and that's the way it had to go down. But like, to me, I think the obvious reason was to get rid of him, because even James Gunn knew you couldn't keep Baby Groot a baby for long.
Yeah,
it only is cute for so long.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Grogu is 50 odd years old, and he can't talk. Which basically means that entire species is mentally challenged, and Yoda was a savant.
Well, and like I said, I agree. I understand what you're saying. Even if you want to try to play stupid games with how a species advances, you're not wrong. And like I said, at this point, they've had more than enough opportunities to play off the whole, you know, the kid can actually talk thing, and they haven't yet.
Right.
So,
or the kid doesn't even act like a 50-year-old anything. Like he still acts like a little baby, impulsive, curious. It's just it boggles the mind. It it doesn't
Makes no
hold water.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but even
Agreed.
instinctually, he should have better.
Yeah.
I mean, he's considering how long he's
Our
been around.
species has a fraction of his lifestyle, and if we had an adult that acted like
Lifespan,
that
yeah.
way, he would need additional care all the time.
It'd be like having Joe Biden around all the time, basically.
Yep. Good point. This is really ludicrous.
Another good point made by I Cthulhu with $5 is we can't allow the Ray movie to be canceled. The dumpster fire needs to be visible from space. Tom needs a boat. That's right.
In a landlocked state, Tom needs a boat.
Hey, that's how I'll get around. I get around. Hey, I'm not that far from a few lakes and rivers and shit. I can get on the Mississippi and go all the way down to Louisiana if I wanted to.
Come hang out.
It's true.
That's right.
Not that far away. Camelbot Killer sends in $5. Says, I think Dave is going out before KK. John F. may have let Dave go forward to fall on his face. Then he can go back to Iger and negotiate getting control. Okay.
He doesn't want it, though.
The first part, I think you might be right. And that's kind of what Script Doctor's been saying all along, is that Dave is being set up as a fall guy at some point. Now, as far as Favreau, I think he had kind of washed his hands of this shit. And this is Bob Iger literally begging on his hands and fucking knees with his balls in his hands, being Jon Favreau's balls in Bob Iger's hands, going, please, for the love of God, save this for me. I think that's what it was, because the feedback on the Ray movie has been so bad, and when they announced that, it was at the in the height of Shinoi's fucking. It's about time we had a woman run Star Wars shit, which is exactly what they didn't need.
Because a woman's never run Star Wars before.
No, not for the last 10 years.
No, never.
I also find it kind of strange that if, let's say, hypothetically, this was Bob Iger's decision, why so small a fanfare for when the head of Disney wants this made?
See, and that's where I think that she funneled that through her Lucasfilm. She probably controls that aspect. But I agree with you. I bet you $5, and this is what I said. Wait until the fucking next meeting they have. If Bob Iger just keeps talking about, we've got the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming up in 2025, and he just keeps talking about it, and Jon Favreau's going to make it, and blah, 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 and he doesn't mention any of the other Star Wars stuff, there's your answer.
Right. And I'll point this out to you for Camelbot Killer, and thank you for supporting the channel. Jon Favreau has his own production company called Fairview. If he were to get control of Lucasfilm, he would have to get rid of that, which means he could never make any of his own private movies. And
no, I think this
doesn't want that. He's not going to get the type of control people are hoping for. He'll probably at best be contracted for a lot of creative input if he decides to stick with Disney Lucasfilm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Favreau officially walks away after this movie in a way of like saying like, yeah, I've said all I have to say with Star Wars. I'm going to let somebody else have their, say now and stuff like that. And kind of graciously exit then. And I think that's kind of what's gonna happen.
Did Favreau actually leave Lucasfilm or come back? Or
no, he's never officially left, but he's never been officially under their employ either.
Yeah, okay.
He's always worked for Disney, and he was
a freelance agent.
Kind of. Not. I don't know if Script knows better than I do what his contract was like, because he was like creative director for Disney. If I remember right, for a while there. I don't even know if he still is or not.
No, he's not. He's I'm just trying to double check his credits here, see what they are associated with Disney on my little Rolodex. He has only ever been as high as a production or production director at Disney Lucasfilm, according to the stuff in the digital Rolodex. And everything else, he's got his company. He's the principal executive of Fairview Entertainment, which is his production company. And represented by Brian Lord over at CAA. And that's pretty much it. Everything else, he is executive producer, director, all those types of things. That's his role there. He has nothing really officially within Lucasfilm that compares to internal bureaucracy there.
Yeah. I know he had some status at Disney, but I don't know how official it was or what for how long,
I
but
think it was kind of like just an in-name
ceremonial kind of thing.
Ceremonial title, yeah.
Because I
So
know
not
he was like,
anything.
it was in between. It was after it was either just before or after the Mandalorian, but it was like because of the Lion King and some other things he had gotten some whatever. But maybe I'm misremembering something. That could be in my line of work. We do this a lot. We talk about a lot of different things.
He's made them a lot of money. I think.
Oh God, yeah.
There's no issue with Favreau when he walks around in Disney headquarters. Sure, they're all very nice to him.
Some are very nice to him. Some won't give him the time of day.
Interesting. But speaking of Disney and Marvel, considering people who won't give him the time of day really anymore, our next story. I don't know how to feel about this. Part of me is like,
know there's a second season announced
for you. And how was it?
And I can't buy a boat now. But then another part of me is just like,
For the
thank
greater
God
good.
I don't have to fucking watch this shit anymore, So
For the greater good, at least.
Did you even watch the first season?
I watched like 3 episodes.
Oh,
2, maybe. I don't remember.
that all?
I watched the whole
Me and
thing.
Shadow
I
watched.
watched
I
the whole
threw
thing.
up.
It's so horrible.
Yeah, I didn't really, but
You're better off. No, I mean, it's not worth it, dude. I mean, just for the greater good. If they're not, and we all knew that was good. Did anyone think there was a chance of doing the season 2?
No.
These idiots.
No.
It'd be touch and go, man. It all depends on if they wanted to how they want to use her in the future of the MCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
which she
they
is
gave
supposed to
Loki
be
a
showing
second
up.
season, and that was terrible too.
She'll
So.
probably an Avengers girl Avengers, maybe.
Well, she's supposed to be in I think Captain 4
Mhm.
and some other things she's supposed to have cameos in. But the interesting part of this story isn't even so much that we're not getting a season 2, because we already kind of knew that. The interesting part is what she said and where she said it.
Yeah.
So what Tatiana said was, after she was asked about whether or not season 2 was likely, she said, I don't think so. I think we blew our budget, and Disney was like, no thanks. Now, the funny part of this is she was on some trivia show on Twitch. That's what the fuck.
She was fired. She was fired from another show. What happened was she finished She-Hulk. I don't want to say it's karma. I mean, it's not that I personally have anything against her, but she was kind of annoying that not only was the show bad, but then she joined in with the director and in that article that they said, F the fans or whatever it is. So she kind of lost my sympathy there. There was a show that was being filmed, I think, for AMC, and they already filmed most of it, like a full season, and suddenly they looked at the episodes and they decided, kind of like Zaslav, to do a write-off, and basically her show was gone. So something that she was very proud of, which would have had her been in a relationship with a woman, which would have been very kind of sending a message or whatever she was excited about, that was the rug was pulled from under her suddenly. And in the meantime, She-Hulk didn't get season 2. So that's probably why you see her on Twitch now doing trivia.
Well, the other part to also consider is that when it comes to television shows, actors are always the last to know. Like, famous story, Kelsey Grammer, when he was doing Frasier, he had no idea if there's going to be another season until a few weeks before production started.
Well, we saw the same thing recently with Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah.
And then she goes on here because there's more, guys. There's more. When asked where people can find her, she said, I had got no job. And then another panelist said, get a job. And she responded, I've been fishing if there's anybody who has any leads.
Wow.
Oh.
You know what? Marvel is now becoming like a stain
poison.
you can't get off
Yeah.
your shirt. And I'm not saying I feel bad for her, but I do feel bad for people, let's just say, who had nothing to do with some of the stigma she was tying herself to, who also lose their jobs because of personalities like this. Because that happened too. Because these people, the Tatianas, they do all this stuff and they give people this bad rep, and then they add stigma to a show, and then the show sometimes doesn't even get viewed by default because people are burnt out from the lecturing and all that stuff, and then show bombs so bad. It doesn't help those way out of budget too. you put all those other people out of their jobs too, and you obviously the ones who don't have any other shows or movies to be attached to. Yeah, this is a trickle down effect.
Well,
I
that's
would
the fad, right? That's the fad for actors and certain showrunners and journalists right now is, okay, we're going to get ahead of the haters. Like I mean, I saw the fast take that Andre did, and Tatiana's interview was talking about trolls, but the thing is, the way that they were describing the critics as trolls, when instead of calling them valid people, that's where she kind of, shot herself in the foot there. But she was towing the company line, which unfortunately actors are contracted to do. So if whoever's running the show says, "Hey, we're getting ahead of the trolls, we're going to make fun of the trolls, and the trolls are these types of people that are going to hate our show," you are fully authorized to remark on that to defend the show. And she took the talking points that were provided to her, reiterated them out, and as a result, it just created a further divide to the potential audience. Didn't help that the show is also terribly written. But we again, I don't. Well, here's the first part. I don't recall an official announcement of season 2 of She-Hulk ever existing. Does anyone else? Because
No.
I don't.
No.
And I,
So for us to say that something is canceled or is not happening is kind of like a no-brainer, because it has to be announced first before something cannot happen. Right?
well, in other words, it's not getting a season 2 is the better way to put it.
Yeah, it's not
but,
continuing as far as we know.
right.
At least not
And Mike-
now.
And
That
Mike
could
Linux,
change.
I
Yeah.
don't think she's joking, because
No.
it's not a good look for an actor to be out of work, because then it
Well,
looks
most
like you're not
actors are
wanted.
most of the time. Yeah.
They are, but you don't. You pretend you're not. You act like you got a dozen fucking things going on, so you act like you're in. You're in demand.
I can't think of an act. I remember when Brendan Fraser was just coming off the height of his career. He was talking about how he was looking for more work, and that was like, I think he was just after finishing the premiere for The Mummy 3. He
that wasn't one of the
making
worst spots of his career, too. That's why.
Well, I mean, he just came off of a job of a big budget film that they were hoping was going to do well, and it didn't.
Well, and this is where I remind people, I'm not saying that things didn't happen to Brendan Fraser that he said happened, but I think those had less to do with his career tanking than things like The Mummy 3, Monkey Bones, Bedazzled. Need I go on? There's at least a half a dozen more I got in my pocket here. Like,
Well, I mean,
I
you
love
take
the
work
guy,
that
but
you can get, right. That's the thing.
Dudley Do Right. I mean, come on. Do I need to throw any more out there? Like,
Well, I mean,
I love Airheads.
Dudley Do Right should have been a good movie that they just did not write well. Like, they didn't
No,
capture.
I know,
understand
but
what
it's still
Rocky Bullwinkle was.
and Airheads was a great fucking flick. You're right, CC, but it also bombed. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Poor guy could not have a hit to save his fucking life other than the first 2 Mummy movies, and that was about it. And Encino Man. Like,
As an actor, you're only as good as your last few projects, and her last few projects are She-Hulk and a show that was finished filming, and they decided they don't want to release it.
yeah, but at this point, you lie. That's my point. As an actor, you save face.
Right. Maybe
and you
she's really-
fucking lie.
She's Canadian. She's not good at that.
I'm not saying you lie and say She-Hulk's happening, but you're like, oh yeah, I got a few things in the back burner right now. We're just she could have even went into like, well, we're just coming out of the strikes, so things are just getting going. But hopefully, I'll have some things I can talk about in the near future. You just say it like that, something like that, if anything. That's just from my own point of view, is just watching this industry for years, because you rarely hear an actor say that unless they're getting to that point where they have hit a wall, right? Like George of the Jungle. Thank you.
Strong as
Watch
he
out for
can
that
be.
tree, man.
Watch out for that tree.
for that
tree.
Right to you
One of the
and
greatest
love
theme songs
me.
of all time.
Yeah.
Such a great theme song.
love it.
I love it.
But anyway, yeah, and like you said, Script, it's no surprise that this is not getting renewed for a second season, most likely.
What a shame. Such a good show.
Nobody
Yeah,
thought
well,
it would. Nobody
No.
thought we would ever see a second
No, but
season.
again, like I said, the interesting part of this is just, and you guys started hitting on the point I was getting to, is how much poison, and this is what I'm getting to now, how much of a poison is Marvel now? It seems like we've heard it from people behind the scenes and working in like special effects. They're like, it's not even worth having Marvel or Disney on your resume anymore because it's not worth the headache or the heartache. You have writers and directors who have said that they don't want to work with either Marvel or Disney or Star Wars, especially because of the bullshit they have to deal with there. You've had how many actors now that have said they don't want to be a part of Marvel? And I can see why. It's a death sentence to your career if you have a flop like this. And I mean, and how many other Marvel people have really gained a career from this? Outside of the first original run of people, I can't think of one.
No, now it's the opposite. It's like a graveyard for these people.
Chris Pratt was like the last one you can kind of count, and all that did was just kind of he was already on an upward trajectory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
his-
That
that
just
was just
escalated it.
really kind of solidified him.
That's what I'm saying. That was just him being caught on a rising star at the right fucking time in the right fucking place in the right fucking role, and everything just happened to boom perfectly.
And he exercised for the first time in his life.
Yeah, that too. But like, I mean, look, even Chris Evans or whatever, he doesn't even have that big of a career.
No, he doesn't.
No.
He's not done well, and he was someone that a lot of people really thought fondly of as Captain America. He did not take off whatsoever. If
Outside of the
any
Knives
one
Out
movie-
things, I'm trying to think. Has he done
No,
anything
he's
else?
so
Not a
Chris
lot.
Evans was always a character actor, but Hollywood kept on trying to push him into a leading man role, which was not his strength because he could do
Mhm.
comedy pretty well. He actually was in a couple of short-lived comedic television series. He then did, of course, famously Not Another Teen Movie, where you actually see his acting chops on display there because he's able to keep a straight face in a lot of really messed up looking scenes. And but yeah, when he was doing The Losers and he was I think he was doing a couple of romantic comedies and they just weren't landing because it wasn't to his skill set. But when he was selected for Captain America, everything just kind of jived in there because of the type of innocence that he embodies
The
on
guy
film,
next
allowed him
door
to
kind of thing. Yeah.
work with that type of character. But his height of popularity came from Marvel. Nowadays you can get him for probably a couple $1,000,000 on a movie. And I'm just, just like I said on my Patreon many months ago, Marvel would be very smart to just bring him back as Captain America and then tether in his 1940s or 50s lifestyle into an offshoot of a new MCU, evolve it into the past, so to speak.
That
And,
or do what I said before with him, and the fourth film should have just been him putting the stones back throughout time. But yeah, I don't see why they can't have
Mhm.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong for him. Like he's still
No, he's
looks
young.
good enough. He's like 41 or something like that, but that's
Young
fine.
is.
for-
That's still pretty
an
young by Hollywood men age. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when Tom Cruise in his 60s is doing stunts like that, yeah, it's a good aggregate too. He's changed the bell curve, so to speak.
To a point, but I mean, if you look good enough and you can actually stay in shape, I mean, look at Hugh Jackman's another example, right? I mean, he's another one probably pushing his 60s, I think, and still looks good and does the work. So yeah, no, I mean, it's not like he couldn't have played Captain America for the next dozen years,
Right.
right? And I mean, he's not like a Henry Cavill where he's kind of grown beyond the part either. And that's one thing I say that I have, and I'm not trying to raise a stink in the chat or anything like that, but I'm just saying one of my main issues personally with keep bringing Henry Cavill back now is that when I look at him, I see Henry Cavill. He has become and grown beyond the part. For years until I was almost an adult, Christopher Reeve was Superman. They were
Oh, yeah.
indistinguishable, right? Like that was Superman to me. So until I was old enough to kind of
He still
grasp
is.
the I mean, yes, he technically still is in my eyes, and he's never really done anything that's gone beyond that. Even though he did grow beyond the character eventually, he did it naturalistically in a way that, with my youth, was just perfect, right? About the same time he put the character aside was about the same time I was old enough to realize, oh, this is just a guy playing a role, right? Like, so like at that point, it's just, and I don't hate Cavill. I actually like Cavill quite a bit, Mandrake. To be honest with you, I'm looking forward to him in Highlander. I think that's a brilliant fucking idea. And I'm a huge Highlander fan. Y'all know that. But but I feel like it was a franchise that was never utilized. And at this point, good for him. He needs to go there. He's got his Warhammer thing. That's cool. This kid who's playing Superman looks the part so far. I'll give him a chance. I'll give the movie a chance. But same thing with Chris Evans, though. He has not grown above and beyond the part. Like I can still see him, and he's Captain America to me. Because I've never really seen him in
is the
anything
star.
else. Even Johnny
Chris
Storm, I
Evans,
forgot that he was that. Yeah, you're right, though. CC, that's the other problem with Captain 4. Who wants to see a Captain America movie without Captain America, right?
When he got
No,
cast
I-
as Cap, good.
You will get actors who will be so fantastic in the role that you can't see anybody else playing it, and that's great. Maybe sometimes you'll get I mean, we've moved on beyond the age of Hollywood stars, which is another thing. We don't
True.
really have Hollywood stars anymore, but you could get a Hollywood star in a role. But it's still, Captain America is the star. That is, that's the listing on the movie. It's not Chris Evans in Captain America. It's Captain America with Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Clobby, did you have something to add to that?
I was gonna say, with Evans, as someone I didn't like those FF movies that much, but I thought he was incredible as Johnny Storm, perfect choice. So much so that when they cast him as Cap, I'm like, he's too much like Johnny Storm. He's nothing like Steve Rogers.
I was the same way, Clobby.
I was like, no way, not Johnny Storm. Even though those movies are kind of crappy, he fit the bill perfect for Johnny Storm. So I was concerned at him playing Cap. Yeah, and then he did a great job as Cap. No, he's not the greatest actor around, but he did a great job for in that role as Captain America and as Johnny in those inferior movies. So, and he was even in a DC film, The Losers, but I didn't really did much that one. So he's good enough. He didn't want to do any more comic book movies, I guess. He's also a dumbass in real life, but
yeah, that's the other problem. His politics do not quite line up with Captain
not so much that I disagree with him on his politics, which I do. He's such see you next Tuesday about it.
Yeah, he's a dunce. I agree. He was great for Captain America, even though I was skeptical, and I did like him as Johnny Storm in movies that were not good. He did his time, but Marvel is now becoming a stain for people, and yeah, it's unfortunate, especially for those who had nothing to do with the crappy personalities. And Evans kind of is one, sadly, as good as he was as Cap. So now that's going to linger on a little too. Not as much as the She-Hulks of the world, but that's going to linger on. I mean, God, look at Chloe Zhao. She was somewhere, she was everywhere, and then she was nowhere.
Yep.
Man, that was Anyways, that's it.
Well, I want to thank Mr. Tickle Trunk for gifting 5 minutes at delicious. Thank you so very much. Appreciate
All right,
that.
nice.
Appreciate that quite a bit. Thank you. And hopefully, if you're one of those recipients, we'll see you on our next member stream, which hopefully will be soon. But yeah, that's pretty much the basic news. We had a lot to talk about, but we managed to discuss it in under an hour, even though we started early. So
well done, son. Well done.
Oh, well. So that was nice and tight.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, I want to thank everybody out there for watching. CC, what you got going on?
I'm gonna keep trying to get my car to start.
I imagine.
Dinner.
So yeah,
usual stuff.
Hopefully you can keep warm, man.
Oh yeah, I think the worst is over. I'm not in central North America, but for here, it's the coldest I've seen it in a long time.
Right. Well, keep us posted.
It was enough to break things. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah. Mike is going to suddenly pop up now. Maybe. You never know. Clobby, what you got going on? You got a show tomorrow night, don't you?
Yes, sir. Well, I think I might be.
Or do you have one tonight?
Not tonight, but if Loki is doing the comic book roundtable tomorrow night, I'll hang with him. And of course, after that, my wild card Wednesday night. And then, of course, Thursday's the Clubhouse. Fridays, my buddy J-Man and I were covering all Frank Miller's Daredevil run. And of course, I'll let Nick tell you about what he's got going on in this comic shop. And they got Saturday Night Star Trek. So I'm all over the place, man.
Awesome. Price, what you got going
on? I have on Thursday night we're doing Quantum Leap Revisited, and I'm working on some videos now, but I don't have anything specific. I guess just people that stay tuned. I'll post something this week for sure.
Sounds good. Script, what you got going on?
Let's see. I got my Scripts on Saturday show. I'm going to be doing the Quantum Leap show with Price on Thursday. Who knows where I'm going to be throughout the rest of the week? I've got kind of some gigs lining up now in the industry. So we'll see what happens as my schedules
Maybe make it to the morning show tomorrow if you're lucky.
Ideally,
we're
yes,
lucky.
that is the goal. Yeah.
I should say. If you're lucky, you got work to do. But Nick, I'm your worst nightmare.
Both 3 Toxic Tuesday in a little over 90 minutes, a ways away, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna be huge, and of course, I'll have a few videos out this week, and Comic Shop Talk Friday night. That'll be fun as well, and of course, I'll be back on here on Thursday as per usual. Thanks for having me, chat. You be awesome, and have a great evening. If I don't see you on Toxic Tuesday. And for those who are feeling a little extra muscle on their body, should come hang out with us so we can talk Rambo 3, because it is with lots of explosions.
I watched that last night for the first time in probably 10, 15 years.
There's more
probably.
memorable quotes in it than I remember. I'm like, how did I not remember these lines?
I don't remember laughing as hard as I did, and I wonder if script actor remembers. As when right after, because the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie feel like 20 minutes were chopped out. You get going in the first part of the movie, it's like somebody came through that, probably Stallone, with like a fucking machine and just went, nope, this gotta go, this gotta go, this gotta go, this gotta go. We gotta get into this movie.
Probable.
Quicker.
It's probable.
All of a sudden you get fucking Troutman gets kidnapped or whatever, and you literally do a hard cut to Kurtwood Smith going, something went wrong. It's I can't even fucking say it without laughing, because it feels like such a trailer cut. It's like, wait, that's a cut in the movie? It's like, did they just jump over a whole shit ton of dialogue there or what?
Wow.
Just the cut made me laugh so fucking hard. He's just like, yeah, shit went wrong. All right. We're not even going to fucking piss around here. We're just getting into this thing.
Wasn't the movie famous for going over budget and all that stuff? And
yes, it had a huge budget. Yeah, and it was like 2 directors, and then Stallone, I think, ghost directed it anyway. We'll talk about that in about an hour and a half, right, Nick?
Yes, we will. It's gonna be huge.
I'm gonna start the Taliban.
Hey, I'll see you guys in an hour and a half. Come hang
They're gonna make 9/11 look like, well, 9/11.
Worst nightmare.
Your worst nightmare.
Until you're in Beverly Hills Cop, but get shot by Eddie Murphy.
We were talking about that on the show, that we can't believe. Excuse me. Excuse me.
It's tight.
Thank you. We couldn't believe that they never did a Cobra Beverly Hills Cop crossover, considering.
That would have been
Beverly Hills
diabolically monstrous. You have
Axel Foley
the man,
and Cobra are gonna.
I'm sure they met at some point.
Cobra and Eddie, yeah, right. Shared universe somewhere out there. There's a shared universe.
Yeah, they
of
met
Cobra
somewhere.
and Beverly Hills Cop. One's got a toothpick and cuts pizza with a pair of scissors. The other talks really fast and is really jumpy. Oh man, I would that's a crossover. I would probably
Beverly
buy
Hills Cobra.
Beverly Hills Cobra. Hey, call the Cobra. Oh, and while you're at that, call Axel Foley too.
All right, so we'll talk about that in about an hour and a half. This will lead you over there, so park up there and get ready. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we will see you next time. And thank you, Goddess of Win, for saying.
Night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
I got molested in the little boy's room. Correctamundo.